We are honoured today to have as our guest speaker His Excellency General the Honourable David Hurley, Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia. Your Excellency. Thank you.
Good morning. Absolute privilege for Linda and I to be with you today to share this very special occasion, not just here in Adelaide, South Australia, of course, but nationally in our memory. Could I thank Mrs. Rosemary Wanganeen for your welcome to country. I'd hope one day that if we're asked as a nation, how are we going, we can all answer Mani Adalu. We're going well because we've got to somewhere we should be. So thank you. And can I thank you and your people here for looking after this beautiful part of our country for generation after generation and pay respects to their elders past and present. Can I also acknowledge Her Excellency Mrs. Frances Addison, Governor of South Australia. This is a rare occasion for two Vice-Regals to be in the one location. So I hope that sends another message to you today about how important it is. I'm not usurping her. I'm reinforcing the importance of this day and this occasion. To the Honourable Stephen Marshall, Premier of South Australia, to ministers, both federal and local, state, to members of Parliament here today, Ms Helen Fisher, the President of the South Australian Women's Memorial Playing Fields Trust, Air Commodore Ross Bender and other senior members of the Defence Force, Mr Philip Newitt, Assistant Commissioner of South Australian Police, particularly to families, relatives, friends of those we are recognising today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for Linda and I to be here for this memorial service and to remember 22 women who met, how do you describe it? An undescribable death 80 years ago. So we honour them today, their service, their sacrifice, but through them also to all Australian women who have served our nation in conflicts and operations, both here and overseas. And I want to particularly acknowledge the Trust, who for nearly 70 years have hosted this service and advocated on behalf of women and girls. Thank you for what you've done. And I thank you also for this new memorial that honours these women today, and it will be the largest in the Southern Hemisphere. That's a statement of how important this incident is. When I looked at a survey result last week that was published from Deakin University, it made me wonder about the importance of history again. The survey found that about 25% of the survey participants, about 3,500 people, had no or little factual knowledge of the Holocaust. 25%. That's 25% of recipients had no idea that 6 million people had been killed, murdered, in one of the greatest acts or atrocities in human history. That worried me. Are we going through a period of historical amnesia where we don't understand our past? In a period now where the concept of identity has been weaponised, I think this is a really dangerous thing if we don't remember our history, what has shaped us, what drives us, what gives us character. So today, the importance of remembering this event is absolutely critical, because in remembering this event, we are learning, thinking about who we are as Australians, because through these 22 women, part of that fabric of Australia has been grown. 22 threads of that national fabric are represented here. 22 threads that tell us who we are, what we stand for, how we go about life, what our values are found in these women. And two of them in particular, we remember Vivian Bullwinkle, of course, because her service beyond self, when she came back through the rest of her life, was a fine example to us. And Major Drummond, her words, chin up, girls. I'm proud of you and I love you all. what does that tell us about us? And these days, these values are critical to us. I find that when I see Irene Drummond's words, I just see them played out across Australia. I see and I repeat in many speeches that when Linda and I travel around to Australia, go to natural disasters, and believe me, there's been a few in the last 2 years, this is what I see. Chin up, be proud, and a love for each other. Now, in Government House, we call that richness of spirit. There's a real richness of spirit in our people. And we've seen it through the droughts, we've seen it through the floods, we've seen it through mice plagues, we've seen it through the pandemic. There's a real richness of spirit in Australia's people. And how can we ever allow that to be forgotten? How can we allow incidents like this that help form us to who we are today to be forgotten? So you coming together is so important to get this message out, to keep this history alive. Not because we hate the Japanese because of it. No, because of what it says about us as people. Build a strong nation, you've got to go back to your foundations. This is part of the foundation. So thank you, Helen, to you and the ladies over the years who have said, we realise the importance of this event, what it means to us as a country, and what it means to us in our inner core as Australians. The Australians I see out there are built from all over the world. They come from all over the world. We've created a different nation. We have a big reconciliation task ahead of us. But through that, what these women represent will play an important role. So your work in the Trust, history, important. Remembrance, particularly important. Practical outcomings with playing fields to bring us together, keep us fit and fit and healthy. That's a slip. That's important because that all comes together to me to say, this is us. You represent that. So thank you. So we remember and honour the 22 Australian nurses who lost their life in horrific circumstances while supporting those and themselves defending their country. I hope the story resonates. I know it does with this audience, but beyond that, because we continue to see those qualities displayed both in our nurses, and thank you for being here and what you're doing in our service today, but for our country. Compassion, selflessness, loyalty, bravery, honour. What could we ask more than that from each and every one of us, actually, to be taking as a lesson for today? So on behalf of all Australians, I acknowledge their remarkable service. I acknowledge your service, Helen, and those who have come before and those serving today. Thank you for what you're doing here. This memorial is a place to bring children to. Not just a place to come and play games. So after the fun and games, after the orange juice and whatever, walk through here, read, understand, take it home. This is us. That's what it says. Thank you.
I don't know if anybody spotted the deliberate mistake. However, we should have unveiled the memorial straight at the beginning. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask the Chaplain Davison to come forward, and the Governor-General is going to unveil the memorial, and the Padre is going to bless the memorial site.